What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Cal One-on-One on Cape Atlantic Live. I'm your host, Nick Kosko, and today a very special guest, Hammonton Football head coach Jim Raso. Coach, appreciate you joining me here this afternoon as we head into, it's almost the summer now. It's basically the unofficial start of summer now that Memorial Day is past that, which means we are a little bit closer to football. So we want to welcome you to the program, of course, but I got to start out. How are things going right now during your off-season prep, spring practice, getting into summer, getting ready for camp? All those good things. What's the latest with Hammonton Football?
Well, first, thanks for having me on. It's an exciting time right now. Schools, we got a couple more weeks left in school, and we've been working out 3 days a week all off season, and there's an excitement that the kids it's building up. You can start to feel it now. Now that most of the spring sports are done, we got a few kids still out there with the track program that are competing, but for the most part, everybody's back and, had a really good session yesterday. We were coming back off of a little bit of a break, with Memorial Day and stuff. And now the kids are just counting down to get out of school and let's get started with the football activities.
What's your spring practice and off-season prep work look like? I know you just mentioned basically 3 days a week right now. Is it mostly just lifting and technique and just kind of going over the rough game plan? What's your guys' spring practice kind of look like leading up to the summer?
Yeah, so the off season's kind of been 3 days a week, mostly lifting. Some, springtime we've been doing some conditioning, some drills and stuff for speed and agility. As we start getting into the summer period where you're allowed to start doing some football activities. We'll be going over simple stuff, techniques, starts, different stuff like that. Start breaking down the offense and defense for the younger guys and the newer guys. The guys coming back have a pretty good handle on how things operate here. So we'll be like 3 to 4 days during the summertime. Do a little Pascal, during the summertime as well, and the kids are just getting ready.
Awesome. So before we dive into what's to come here in 2023, I wanted to look back at just last season. Very good season for you guys and the program. Of course, South Jersey Group 4 runner-up to Millville. Close loss in that final. Obviously, it stings a lot of people around Hammonton. And, I know coaches like to say, we're always focused on the next game, and you're only as good as your last win or last loss, or however the phrase goes. Have you been thinking about you and the team since then about that loss, or is that kind of now in the rearview mirror and you say, all right, what do we have to do to get back to that point?
Well, use it as a learning tool. Okay. Each year, we always tell the kids it's a brand new chapter. Okay. They're in the book of Hammonton Football. We're writing a new chapter. And, you look back, try to see what you did well in a game like that. Obviously, it was an honor and privilege playing in that game. And then learn from some mistakes. Obviously the mistakes were made, and you try to focus on what we need to do to get better. But it's a different team. We're basically starting from day one now. The ultimate goal is to be playing in the playoffs again. That's always one of our goals. But at the same time, there is a message to be learned from that, and that's the finish. We were close. We needed to get either another first down or another stop, and we weren't able to finish that game off. So, that's something that from the guys that are coming back have to learn how to do. And then, of course, we got some new guys that'll be competing from some starting positions as well.
So going into 2023, you mentioned how to get back there, there's a lot of things you can learn from. Mistakes were made, but obviously there's a lot of positive things to build off of a great season in 2022. So speaking of some of the guys that are coming back, who are some of those guys for our listening and viewing audience out there? Who are some guys you're highlighting and can't wait to see back on the field after last year's great season?
Yeah, that'll start with our running back, Kenny Smith. Very dynamic player. Coming out of his sophomore year, going into his junior year. He picked up his second offer recently. So to have a couple offers on the table right now, going into your junior season, you got to be doing something right. Led South Jersey in rushing, had 25 touchdowns, but he would be one of the first ones to tell you it starts up front with the offensive line. The good thing is we just about have everybody back up front. You know, on the offensive line, we had one player who was a sophomore last year, Christian Medina, who was an all-conference player, made all South Jersey. So, you know, going into his junior year, you know, he's going to be looking to anchor that line down. And then, you know, most of the starters are back. I think we only lost one of our tackles, but the kid that's going to be competing for the starting position played just as much as the kid that left last year. So, you know, that always helps having that offensive line back. And then defensively, you know, our linebackers are our core, you know, going to lead the way for this defense. All three of the linebackers are back from last year. We have a couple down guys that are still there, and then a couple guys on the back end. You know, Justin Dowdy, he's back in the secondary, and of course, Kenny's back in the secondary as well.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch you guys again this fall. Of course, you know, if I remember anything about Hammonton football, even from my playing days over 10 years ago, you guys hit hard. The offensive line, defensive line, big units, very tough, very formidable. So as we look ahead to 2023, you know, you've been in this position as head coach for nearly a decade now. So I wanted you to look back and just tell our viewers out there, well, what's changed in your coaching style? What's changed in the program? What have you noticed from 2015 to now, where you're going? I believe this is now year 8, if not year 9, if my math serves me correct. What's it been like over this course of a near decade now as the head coach of Hammonton football?
Well, you know, we try to keep some things the same, you know, in our preparation, our toughness, our off-season program, our work ethic. But times have changed, you know, and just in general with what's going on in the world, and kids, and the social media, and trying to keep up with all that. You know, the kids are on there all the time, and you know, so you know, some of that has changed. You know, but for the most part, the one good thing that we've had here over the years is that tradition of how we like things to be done gets passed down from year to year. And you know, and that's something that dates back to even when Coach Lancetta was a coach here. You know, when I was playing for Coach Lancetta, you know, and I tried to keep those core values going when I took over as well. Is it completely the same? No, you know, you make little tweaks here, you have to adapt. You know, we got into more of spread sets than, you know, than years past, because we try to adapt to the talent that we have. We didn't necessarily have an old school wing T football team, so you try to adapt to the, you know, what type of team you have, instead of, you know, just trying to make these guys do something that they probably wouldn't be successful doing.
Is that adaptation more of how the NFL and college games are kind of coming together now, with more spread offenses, and obviously the way they play defense as well to defend those types of spread out offenses? Is that why you guys are making the changes? Is that why high school football, especially in this area, is making those changes? Or is it more just a combination of the talent you have now, and also basically where the game is going?
I think it's both. I think it's a little bit of where the game's going, and I also think, you know, just trickling in what college is doing, what the NFL is doing. You know, these kids put in a lot of time in the off season. A lot of them are involved in, you know, these MLGs, and dealing with these, you know, the Pascali stuff where they're always traveling stuff. So, you know, they're not necessarily developing the same kind of skills as, you know, before. It's a different type of skill, not necessarily better or worse, but you know, you need to adapt to see what your kids are going to have success doing, and that's what we tried to do here.
Awesome. So speaking of the college stuff, you mentioned how Kenny Smith also has a couple of offers now going into his junior year. How do you balance that as a head coach with your players, for guys like him who are already getting some early looks going into his junior year, and also guys that might be late bloomers and are going to be in this college process? And obviously the Cape Atlantic League has been very rich with college talent. It seems like it's still under the radar here in South Jersey, but how do you balance that with recruiters pushing guys to get to college, whether it's D1, 2, or 3? How is that like for you as a head coach?
Yeah, you know, it's a lot of extra work. You know, you're constantly trying to stay on top of making sure the films are getting to where they're supposed to be, dealing with transcripts. Obviously, the college coaches coming in, you know, for visits during the periods that they're allowed to come in and visit, and then trying to set some things up for kids in terms of camps. the bottom line is we're trying to prepare some of these guys for the next level, whether that's Division 1, 2, or 3. And, combined as a staff, there's some assistant coaches helping along the way as well. And, we're trying to prepare these guys for life, for school, after football here at Hammonton. And, we just want to put them in the best possible position that they can be in.
Hammonton football coach Jim Raso on with me here on Cal One-on-One on Cape Atlantic Live. Coach, a couple more for you right here. I have to ask about the conference itself. Obviously, it's a little bit different when it comes to the playoffs. You're put into groups, and obviously the whole geographical realignment a couple of years ago, where you guys could be playing in Central Group 4 for some reason. Just based on the way the seedings go, of course, but the conference itself, when you guys are playing a regular season schedule where you're playing Cape Atlantic teams, or you're playing, obviously, now it's all merged into West Jersey football for at least just for the sport of football at least. But how do you evaluate the teams that were in that Cape Atlantic League traditionally, and how you guys keep them on the schedule a little bit? I mean, what is this conference as a whole, at least in terms of football? Because, it's the same teams, just under a different banner, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's under that WJFL now. Which a lot of the old Cape Atlantic League teams, are still in some of the same divisions. And, we did play some in terms of crossovers and stuff, very good football. I mean, you look and see what Millville's doing, you look and see what Mainland's doing. Atlantic City had a great year last year, so you're seeing a lot of those teams have a lot of success. Holy Spirit, over the years, St. Augustine, all these teams are having a lot of success. It's great to see that you're able to still play some of those teams, but you also have the opportunities to play some new opponents as well.
Absolutely. One more for you, Coach. So now we're looking ahead to 2023 again, still quite a ways away from the first game. But, again, today's June 1st as we're recording this right now. So, of course, that first game is going to sneak up on everybody in just a couple of months. So when you look ahead to week 0, week -1, week 1, whatever you want to call it, what is the message to the community, your team, your staff? What's the message this year for Hammonton football here in 2023?
Well, looking at that week 0 game, we have to be prepared, and that's something we've been preaching all off season. Once we found out who our opponent is, we're playing right smack in the middle of the day at 1 o'clock. So not only is it going to be a physical game, in terms of the weather, probably at that point, and it also turns out it's going to turn into a mental game as well. So, we got to try to be in the best possible shape that we could be in. Playing a very good opponent, St. John Vianney, down at the Battle of the Beach. Historically they've been a great program over the years. So our work will definitely be cut out for us. Everything that we've done and are going to do leading up to that game is for them. And it's important to try to get that first one under your belt, but by no means is it going to be easy. We have a lot of work to do between now and then.
Us folks around South Jersey are really looking forward to that one at the Battle of the Beach. Of course, check out Hammonton football this coming season throughout the Cape Atlantic League teams in West Jersey football in action this fall. Coach, appreciate the time as always. Looking forward to seeing what you guys do in the fall. I appreciate you joining me as well. Again, I can't wait to see what you guys can do this fall.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Anytime that, we can come on here and talk football is always a great day. So, wish you the best, covering everybody this season. And anytime, you want to have Hammonton on there, just let me know. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Coach. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good one.